Good morning. Happy Saturday, everyone. Good morning. So, just let me get set up here. Oh, oh boy. Oops. Oh my gosh. Uh, Sorry about that, if anyone's on. So I'm just getting up set up here on Facebook. I mean on Instagram because I'm going live in Instagram as well. Okay. So happy Saturday. I'm gonna get started. I'm just actually, I'll wait a couple more minutes. I'm talking intuition today. So, um, how do you discern? How do you discern whether the voice, whether your intuition is ego-based or spirit-based, and also just how to connect with intuition? So I'm going to just wait a couple of minutes here and say that all over again. This will be recorded into the group, so it'll be fine. Um, Also, we want to, oops, okay, oops. Okay. Sorry, just give me a few more minutes. Okay. Oh, all right. Hmm, bad. Okay. Hey, good morning, everyone. Happy Saturday. I hope everyone's doing well. And I hope everyone is having a great start to January. So I am just jumping on here, and this morning I'm going to talk about some intuition, and I am doing this in my group that I have on Facebook, which is Evolve, Unlock Your Limitless Potential. So I'm also doing this on Instagram as well, and it'll be recorded. So I apologize for lighting on my Facebook group. It's kind of a little dark, but that's okay. So we're talking intuition today, and there was a couple, I did a poll in my Facebook group on what kinds of topics around intuition people wanted to hear about. So um, the census was that um, how to tap into your intuition, and the second one was discernment. And so let's talk about how to tap into your intuition first. So we all have intuition. It's that, um, that feeling when you're walking down the street or in a crowd and you just get, sometimes you feel your body um, giving you some odd signs, or you just feel that, lump in your throat, or your stomach might tighten. It's what prevents us maybe from getting on a plane or driving down a specific road. And most of us, we don't really connect to it that it's our intuition because generally, most of the time, we are led by our unconscious. And so our intuition is that sense, that feeling that something's not quite right or something's coming. And so how do we tap into our intuition? And I feel like a broken record, truly, because I say this often, but it's so true. The first step in tapping into your intuition is to know that you have intuition and to believe that. And the second part is to be present, present in your body, um, and present in your senses, to be able to be conscious every day and throughout your day, which is something that not a lot of us are used to doing. So it's something that you really have to really focus on, put your attention on, and be really, really present. But tapping into your intuition, I actually, it was interesting last night. It was probably after dinner. I was watching Tyler, the Hollywood medium. I love that guy. So I was watching a lot of his videos, and I actually found one that was really amazing, and quite fascinating, being a medium myself, which was his brain was recorded. So he had a friend that was a doctor, and the doctor set him up with a neuroscientist, and they uh, put electrodes on his head, and they did a baseline. So they measured his brain waves before he did readings and while he was doing readings. And they were just shocked. They were amazed because what happens is that in his awake state, his brain went between beta waves and delta waves. And delta waves are, when we're going into sleep, or if we're meditating, we can achieve delta brain waves. So when you go to bed and you kind of, maybe your mind is has a bunch of thoughts and you're thinking a lot of things in your mind, and then all of a sudden you feel your body kind of just relax and settle into, it's almost like you've surrendered. You've surrendered and gave in to the fatigue and to the tiredness, and you all of a sudden just, settle into that, and you can feel yourself let go and feel your body let go. So you're not quite sleeping yet, but you're in that state of surrender. And then I know for myself at that moment, I might hear messages coming in for me at that time. Um, but I think for most people, when you enter that state and you've surrendered, there's, well, your brainwave for one thing will switch. Oops. Your brainwave will switch, and um, just give me one moment. Jessica, can you come here for a second? Jess? Mm. Jessica? Jess? Jessica Sarah. Oh, she must have headphones in. I apologize. Hopefully my laptop isn't going to die here. But anyways, so you surrender, and when you're in that state, your brain wave goes from beta to delta, I believe. I always get delta and theta mixed up, but I think it's beta, theta, delta. And so your brainwave achieves that relaxation meditation mode. And when you're in that mode, that's when again, it's like can you plug in my laptop, please? Because it's going to die and I can't. It's when you surrender and you're at such a relaxed state. That's how you tap into your intuition. That's one way of doing it. And that can be achieved when you're awake. Sorry, I'm just going to get this uh, plugged in here. Um, So tapping into it, so how do we achieve that without going into sleep mode? How you achieve that is by a practice of mindfulness and a practice of meditation. And because when we meditate, our vibration will rise and our brain waves will change as well. But it's not just meditating, just sitting there doing, not thinking. I know I always used to think that that's how I was supposed to meditate, was to sit there and be quiet and not have any thoughts. And I'm an Aries, and good luck with that, Joanne. So, um, but actually, what you do is when you just sit and I mean, it could be sitting in a bathtub, sipping on a glass of wine. It could be, you know, get waking early and sitting up, with a piece of paper and even just scribbling. Because again, if you know the Hollywood medium, that's what he does, is he scribbles. And I've done that before. And the reason why he does that is because it disengages the ego. And so puts him, but his, now we know because it's been documented and uh, scientifically done in a doctor's office in a lab with a neuroscientist, measure how the brain waves switch. So it really is needing to switch off the ego mind. And really, the only way, or one of the best ways of doing that is through that meditation. Or, just when you're sitting there in the middle of the day and you're doodling, because when you're doodling, it's almost like you disengage the mind. My son used to have a lot of anxiety at night when he was a little boy, and I would tell him to do crossword puzzles or Sudoku because um, the mind is going, the ego mind is engaged. And so, when you're in anxiety, then you can just spiral. So to get out of the mind and the egoic brain and relax into a different brain wave. So crossword puzzles, Sudoku, also mindfulness practices. So being mindful and a practice of mindfulness is to start a routine or rituals around, journaling, um, intention, even goal setting could be a mindful exercise because what you're doing is you're focused on a set of goals. You're focused on achieving, going from A to B kind of thing or A to D to achieve goals. So you have to focus on the steps that you're taking. Um, you know, if you're eating, I've mentioned this before, mindful eating practices, sitting, and really tuning into the body so that when you're full. Because what a lot of us do when we're eating is we're at the table, we're talking, watching TV, on the internet, whatever it is. And so we're not present. We're not in our bodies. And so we're not conscious and we're not being mindful. So those are all ways that you can tap into your intuition. Um, and then the other question that I was going to answer was discernment. So, how do we know that it's not our ego and that it's spirit telling us? And this one's a little bit more difficult to explain, but um, I mean, there are some basic kind of guidelines, and one of them is that spirit never tells you anything like shoulda, woulda, couldas. They don't should all over you. So when spirit gives me messages, and how do I know is kind of you do have to have an understanding of the clairs. So clairsentient, clairvoyant, clairaudient, um, claircognizance, and I know I'm missing one, but having an understanding of the clairs and having an understanding of how your intuition works. And we all have guides. We all have angels around us, whatever you want to call it. We all have, yes, our inner guidance, but we also have guides and people that surround us and protect us. Hey, Brooke. Hi. So really, again, being aware of how your intuition works. And, sometimes like you may, again, it's that kind of inner knowing where, have you ever been like, you're driving into work or something like that, and you always go one certain way, and then on this day, you just felt like, you know what, I'm not going to go that way, and you take a different route. That would be claircognizance. That is a knowing within your body. Or sometimes we see spirits. So, and I know people that wouldn't consider themselves a psychic medium or anything have seen spirits. Um, and have any of you seen spirits? And if you know your way, how your intuition works, or your intuitiveness, if your inner guidance system, whatever you want to call it, if you know what your system, inner guidance system tells you, then you can comment below and let me know. I'd be interested to know how you guys feel your intuition and your inner navigation system, how that works. Sometimes, yeah, so the clairvoyance, being able to see things. You know, well, I know, okay, one night my sister came home, and my sister wouldn't consider herself intuitive or anything like that. And she came home and she could see someone standing outside the door. And sometimes people can just feel that energy. There's a different energy. Some people have walked into a house, for instance. Maybe you're at someone's house and all of a sudden you feel like a cold chill. Um, those are all ways that we feel spirit. So if you first realize how your inner navigation system works and how you normally see things when you're aware of that, so then you can really, from there, then you can start looking at the discernment, because let's say you tend to see signs around you or symbols. You look up in the clouds and you see, a baby or something, whatever it is. Some people are really strong with the symbols and the signs. And that would be how you may get your messages from spirit. And that's how, maybe that's how your system works. Um, for others, they may get a flash in their head, like just in their mind, and it just all of a sudden there's a flash of something, or they hear a message within their mind, or they see something and they know that it's not physically there, or not there in the physical, but they know it comes, that they know they see something, but they also know that it is not really there. So when you're, for instance, let's talk about if you are beginning your journey as an intuitive, as a card reader, as an angel reader, whatever it is that you're doing, and you're starting to do cards for people, and you're using, oracle cards or angel cards. And of course, when you're starting out, you turn the card and there's some writing on the card and you say that. But you might have a knowing of something, of, you'll hear a message. So again, when you hear spirit talk to you, it's not saying, um, like I would never say to a person, you should leave your job, you should leave your relationship, your marriage. Um, you shouldn't go and get on that plane today, because spirit never says that kind of stuff. And also, Um, I would feel it in my body. And I think everyone would actually feel that no matter which way your navigation system works. I think you would feel that in your body. For instance, maybe um, maybe you feel a particular way about the person that you're reading for. And if there's any tightness, if there's tightness in your chest or your stomach, um, if you feel kind of any jealousy or spitefulness or any kind of negative feelings or emotions, that's not coming from spirit because there's nothing negative when it comes to spirit or getting messages. So, discernment, um, you would be able to tell that um, it would either come as a flash in your mind where, you might see camping. Let's say you see a trailer in your mind. So that then definitely isn't coming from ego, that's coming from spirit. So you'd be able to, you're turning over a card and whatever it says, let's say it says travel, and you see a flash of a trailer in your mind. You have to trust that. That would be from spirit for sure. It's not up to you as a being who is, you know, practicing intuition or doing any kind of readings for people to discern the meaning of it. You just would say that. So for the people in my group that do readings in that, again, you don't need to discern or decode messages. So for instance, if you turned over a card and it said travel, and then in your mind you get a flash of a camper, of a trailer, then you would just say, um, I see a camper and trailer. Here's the travel, you got the travel card. I see a camper and trailer. It's up to them to be able to discern that. Excuse me. It would be up to them to discern what that meaning is for them. So again, when you're doing intuitive readings for people, um, you're just giving them exactly what you're given, and everybody's different. As long as it's not, there's nothing negative, like again, you could. Sometimes you'll see a date. So again, depending on how your navigation system works, which that's something that you're going to have to become more aware of so that you have that understanding. And then you're going to have to from there um, feel in your body because it's like if you're, let's say you wake up in the morning and you're going about your day and you get in the car and you're driving to work and you know, you're thinking about your boss who you really dislike, and you know how your body will start to feel that. You're thinking that thought, and your body has a reaction to that thought because it produces an emotion within your body. That's almost what it's like when you're doing a reading for someone, um, and if you're, if you're trying to discern the message from them, and if you're feeling the same, if you're having this reaction in your body, you pay attention to that for sure. Because again, if you realize from looking at when you start to be present and really get a hold of, okay, this is how my body gets messages, you may feel it in your body actually. So you want to first, that's why you have to figure that out first. But let's say, you're not someone who feels it in their body and you're doing a reading for someone, you can tell, do you feel light with the message that you're giving the person, or are you feeling constricted? Because really that will tell you as well whether that message that you're giving them is in alignment with your highest self. And of course, when we're doing readings, we're in alignment with our highest self, with our highest path and purpose, and it comes from a place of love. Um, Yeah, let me just think. If anyone has any questions, throw it out for sure. Um, and I just want to try to give you some other examples. Um, the 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 clear or the claircognizance, the knowing part is kind of, it takes time, and at first you may not trust that because I know for myself I didn't. It took me a long time to trust in it. Um, and what I found out was when you just trust, and again, you go with the very first feeling that you have without questioning. So the easiest way to do that is just like tearing off a band-aid. So if you're someone and you're starting to do cards for someone and you're starting to get into the readings, and um, it's like tearing off a band-aid. So however your body is giving you the message, whether it's a flash of something, feeling it in the body, seeing a sign or a symbol, you just throw that out there. And, you know, 95%, even actually more, 99% of the time for myself, when I've done that, um, people always relate to it. They right away say to me, "Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense." So it's just having that trust at first, right? Um, Do I meditate prior to a reading? Yeah, I always do because when you're wanting to do a reading or whatever you're doing, whether you're doing energy work for anybody, any kind of spiritual work, definitely, I mean, I would want to meditate. And because you want to disconnect from ego and you want to be in a quiet place because your intuition, that the whispers that you're getting are so subtle at times that you have to be still and you have to be, you know, in a really peaceful, calm, quiet state. And when your nervous system is relaxed and when you're in a peaceful place, again, that's when you will be able to hear your intuition as well. So definitely I always do that. And in fact, because I'm a soul alignment practitioner as well, I do a meditation visualization where um, I won't explain the whole process, but it's a visualization where I actually then bring my Akashic record guides um, down or into the circle here. So yeah, it could be, even just small ritual like lighting a candle, clearing the space. If I have my board out because I have a tarot board, I have a rose quartz that grounds me. I'll have candles and I'll smudge my space, clear my space, and then I actually do breath work because the breath work can alter your state. Um, so breathing is really good, and I do a particular breath visualization where I bring the energy from my lower chakras up into the base of my head to where the pineal gland is. I take 4 deep breaths. I hold my breath and I squeeze from my root chakra up to my throat chakra because what that does is it forces the fluid to go up into the pineal gland. And so that's one thing. I don't know about you all, but I know when I was a child, we used to do this thing where we would take deep breaths, like, and then hold our breath and lean against a wall. Horrible thing, probably killed off some brain cells, but when you do that, you feel dizzy, right? Sometimes when hold even when I'm doing the meditation where I'm, bringing up the chakra, the energies from the root chakra up into my pineal gland, um, I feel dizzy. And so it's because, I mean, yes, you're depriving your body of oxygen, but it's also altering your state. And so any kind of breath work is really good for that, doing the meditation before. Okay, so um, let me just for a moment collect my thoughts because I want to go back to discernment. So let's talk about if you're feeling it within your body. I know when I do Reiki to someone, or so whether I'm in person or whether I'm doing it virtually, I will feel hot and cold within my body. So again, that's the Claire, geez, yeah, my mind's blanking. It's not the clear knowing, but it's the clear sensing, and I can't think of it right now. I drew a blank, but it's when you feel things within your body. And I know sometimes at night, um, when I was kind of going through my awakening, I would often hear my name being called at night. That was the first thing that happened to me where I knew that that was clairaudient, and so I knew I could hear spirit. I didn't know it at the time until I found this one book. Um, but I used to like I'd hear my name being called, and sometimes I'd be woken up at night because I would, yeah, like one time there was tingles up my back. So that would be the feeling again in your body, to be able to sense a presence. So a lot of us, I think, always our intuition will always tell us when there's something not quite right, or sometimes, you have the extra sensory perception where, you might know that you're going to get a phone call, or, you know, you take your checkbook today because you know you're going to need to use it. Um, all of those different kinds of things, again, can happen. And if you just really think and be present, and you'll know yourself how that works for you. Um, But again, it really is knowing and being aware of how you receive your messages. So it's kind of hard to talk about unless um, I know how all of you get your messages. But the only thing I guess is when you're starting to read and when you're doing your cards and when you're working with clients, just to um, just to really be centered and grounded, and you'll know when you're getting a message. If if something comes really quickly, I I don't want to say like you shouldn't listen to that, but you're going to get a message and you'll feel that, and just you have to trust that and put that message out, the first message that comes up. Because if you wait and let's say you're doing cards and you again you see that flash of a trailer or a camper, and your self-talk is, okay, well, what does that mean? That can't be what she needs to know. Let me think about it. Let me sit here and think. When you're doing that, you're engaging the ego. um, so it's not coming from spirit. In order to access that higher realm, you have to trust it, and just it'll be the first thing that pops in. And it may not make any sense to you at all, but you have to trust that. And that's really all I can say about that. Um, but really have a good look at all the clairs. Do a little bit of research into that, and start to, carry around a little pad of paper and a pen. Start to write down things that you notice. Start to, again, really be present within your body and be more conscious going through your day. And just start to write that down. And I always say to people too, when you want to know something, ask spirit. So for myself, I just, things I was told my guides when I was a kid, um, because I got really freaked out seeing things. So I would say, look, if there's something you need to tell me, you're going to do it in my dream because I don't want to be freaked out. So when I go to bed at night, I may always say, I'll ask a question then. Okay, so, you know, how will you show me how to discern the messages that I receive? Ask that question and keep asking it. Have one question, put the pad of paper and the pen by your bed at night. Every night, ask that question. I guarantee you, you will wake up and write something down. If you want to know the names of your guides, who's with you, you can do that as well. Ask the name. Um, you can do for myself, the pendulum thing. Okay, yeah, I have a pendulum, I use it, but also my body will use it, kind of be the pendulum. So if I'm doing a reading for someone and I'm just doing a Facebook Live and I'm pulling a card, so I'm just doing one card, I may feel pressure in my left eye or my right eye. And all of a sudden, it doesn't happen with everyone that I read for, but if I have pressure, for instance, on my left eye, and it's pressure, it's it's not there. Right now, like my eyes are fine, but all of a sudden I could be talking and I can just feel a pressure that I know that there's a male with the person that I'm reading for. Or if it's on the right, if my right eye feels pressure, I know that there's a female with the person that I'm reading for. So all of these things will come up, and it's not like when I first started this journey back when I was a kid that these things happened. And it's not like any of us came with a manual, but we can, when we start to focus on increasing our intuition, tapping into our intuition, when we want to know, when we want it, when we're going in the direction, which hopefully all of us are now, of a spiritual reality, more being in the spiritual than the physical reality, um, is that we're going to be more focused on it, right? So just take notes, meditate. Automatic writing is when, you put your pen really lightly on your paper, you ask a question in your head, and you just meditate and just hold your hand there and see what will come because, that's how I wrote my very first book. Um, Not the pages, but the names, the character details, and stuff like that all came through automatic writing for me. So it will happen. You just have to keep taking the time and practicing it. It's just like if you want to, create something in your reality, you have to practice what it is that you want to do by visualizing it and by practicing it, because that's how you create anything, right? So that's how you would discern. I hope that answers the question for the ones in my group about discernment and intuition. And um, the next talk I'll do will be on the clairs because really you do need to know all of the clairs in order to be able to understand yourself. If you're going to understand the universe, which is you have to understand all the components that make up you and make up the universe that is all within you. Um, so that's everything for today, guys. And I hope that answers questions again in my group, and we'll do more talk on that. So I hope everyone is having a wonderful weekend. I hope everyone is staying warm and being safe. Thanks for following and listening, guys. And I will talk to you later. Bye. You're welcome. Bye, guys. Have a great day. Oops.